Tonight, it's the LFL Divisional Playoffs with Monique Gaxiola and the LA Temptation taking on Heather Furr and the Chicago Bliss. Next.
The crowd rises to their feet for these women warriors. Can you hear them scream your name? Feel it raise your heartbeat. Are you ready? Some will bow and some will break. Not everyone has what it takes to be a part of the elite. We are the chosen. We are the beautiful, indestructible. You're in our sights and we're prepared for war. They'll be mesmerized as they watch us rise. Oh, we'll take the world by storm.
Welcome back to Chicago, Illinois, site of the LFL Divisional Playoffs. Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Hugo once again. And Bobby, we just saw Philadelphia edge out Atlanta in the Eastern Conference Divisional Playoff. Now we're on to Chicago versus LA, the marquee matchup of the night. What are the keys for both these teams?
Well, Mitch, these two teams, they met earlier this season, and Chicago was plagued by turnovers. Tonight, they have to protect the ball and get the ball to their playmakers. They have the #1 running back in the LFL, Crystal Harris. She's tough, she's a beast, and she runs through people. And at quarterback, they have the heartbeat of that team, the field general, Heather Rockstar Furr. Furr can beat you with her feet or her arm. She's having a career year on both sides of the ball. The rookie, Allie Alberts, is also impressed, earning all fantasy honors this week, has become the go-to target for Furr.
And on the other side of the ball, you have Los Angeles, a team that's won 3 championships in a row. They're on the verge of becoming the LFL's first ever dynasty if they win tonight and continue down that path. What is the key for them?
Well, they lost some key players, #1 being Chloe Butler, the defensive end. They need the rookies to step up in her position and play big tonight. They also have to establish the running game with Melissa Margulies. If she takes off, it's going to open up the passing lane for the best quarterback in the LFL, Ashley the Gunslinger Salerno. She can throw it, but she plays the quarterback position like a linebacker.
Absolutely, Bobby. So the stage is set. It's the Western Conference Divisional Playoffs. Kickoff is next. Back to action here at the Sears Center, Bobby. We've got Los Angeles versus Chicago. The matchup we've all been waiting for, and they're meeting up in the divisional playoffs here.
Mitch, we have 2 of the finest quarterbacks ever to play in the LFL. Heather Furr going against Ashley Salerno. This is going to be fun.
Monique Gaxiola will get us underway. Nice high, deep kick into the back of the end zone, and Harris fumbles the ball, now trying to make something of it, and gets wrestled down what looks to be about the 3-yard line.
Harris could not find the handle on the football. Great downfield coverage by Los Angeles, Mitch.
Absolutely, and this will give us an opportunity. There's Heather Furr. We sat down with her earlier talking about the matchup with Mo Gaxiola.
Monique is a great middle linebacker, but playing against her individually, it doesn't intimidate me at all. It's all about the collective unit, and offensively, I think we're stronger than their defense.
There's so many good matchups tonight, Mitch. Mo Gaxiola against Heather Furr. That's going to be fun to watch.
There's a look at Heather Furr's numbers on the year, leading the league in passing at 107 efficiency. There's the first play from scrimmage. Harris up the middle for a good 10 yards, and that'll move the sticks for Chicago. That is going to be the bread and butter of this offense tonight, Crystal Harris. And let's meet that offensive lineup.
Dina Fagiano, tight end. Marguerite Silvestro, center. Jamie Barwick, offensive line. Meredith Mulford, wide receiver. Allie Alberts, wide receiver. Crystal Harris, running back. Heather Furr, quarterback.
Heather Furr finally has some weapons besides Crystal Harris. She's got Allie Alberts and Stix Peterson.
But there is that prototypical weapon of this offense. Crystal Harris breaks another one. This one goes for 16.
A speed option down to the right side of the line. Watch this. Agam Chichindu almost makes a tackle there. She breaks through. Then she almost goes for 6. Her own player, Heather Furr, came up and tripped her by mistake. Watch this. They caught legs right there, or Harris would have gone for 6 points, Mitch.
That was a big stop by Heather Furr. I'm sure LA is very appreciative.
Wow, that could have been huge.
Now you have a 1st and 10 from the LA 21. Burr under center. Looks to run the option with Harris. Gonna keep it herself. But there is Gaxiola and company, including Salerno, up on that stop. And now let's meet that LA defense.
Christina Sagarminaga, DN. Monique Axiola, middle linebacker. Danielle Harvey, defensive end. Jessica Avery, safety. Jasmine Binloff, safety. Autumn Chichindu, cornerback. Rah! Chelsea Hart, cornerback.
Last year, the secondary was their weakness. This year, Chelsea Hart and Agam Chichindu are all fantasy.
And there's another Christelle Harris rush. That one goes for about 4. Mo Gaxiola in the middle of that stop for LA.
I think with Chloe Butler out of the game, Mitch, they're going to be handing the ball off a lot to Christelle Harris and see if that offensive line can blow out the new people playing for Los Angeles up front.
There's Mo Gaxiola. Look for her to be ISOing Christelle Harris to stop this run game throughout the night. But yeah, Bobby, it's obvious. 3 out of the first 4 offensive plays for Chicago have been Christelle Ferrari Harris runs. Now 3rd and 5. Bird electing to keep it herself and gets outside for about 11 on that one.
Mitch, that's just what we were talking about. The defensive ends, Pagnanelli and Harvey, they should have had Heather Furr right here. Watch, nobody attacked, nobody sealed from the outside. Heather Furr ran for the 1st down. They're going to attack those 2 defensive linemen all night long.
For a quarterback, Furr has incredible vision, and she will milk out the yards on the ground as well as through the air. One of the more complete players in this league.
She is having an incredible season on both sides of the ball.
Now we're looking at a 1st and goal from the LA 5. There's a shotgun snap to Furr. Furr trying to break that middle, goes for about a yard on that one.
Danielle Harvey has a nose for the football, Mitch. It was a quarterback draw, but it wasn't executed that good. Melissa Margulies there coming up also from the secondary.
2nd and goal now. Every possession in a game of this magnitude counts. When you're getting inside the red zone, you've got to come away with points here.
This is quite an impressive drive for Chicago, going against the defending champs. The first series of the game, taking it all the way down the field.
Furr from the shotgun, direct snap to Harris that time. Harris trying to get on the outside, does, and looks to be down to about the LA 1. Big hit coming up from Chelsea Hart from that corner position. Fans loving it.
That's why she's all fantasy. Chelsea Hart, that was an unbelievable play. She came out of nowhere to stop Harris to go in the end zone.
3rd and goal now. And just a reminder, we do not have field goals in the LFL. This is 4-down territory. 3rd and goal now from under 4 minutes left in the 1st quarter. Furr with the quarterback draw that time. And Danielle Harvey comes up. I think they smelled that one.
They totally did. It looked like the center moved a little bit there too, Mitch, but LA's all over it. They're going to bend right now, but it looks like they're not going to break. Chicago was running at will, but now they're in the red zone, and this was their problem early in the year. They couldn't get in inside the 5.
That LA interior defense is one of the toughest in the league. You've got Mo Gaxiola at middle linebacker, Danielle Harvey at DN, and boy, do they miss Chloe Butler.
They miss her bad, but this play early in the game, and it's huge. The crowd is on their feet already.
4th and goal. Pitch out to Harris. Harris trying to get outside, cannot get outside, tries to cut inside. Nothing doing. Chelsea Hart coming up for the stop, and I don't think they crossed it.
But the ball was out, Mitch. I think the ball popped out.
Irregardless, it looks like LA's got to stop. What a huge goal line stand by Los Angeles.
Wow, what a play there. They blow up the whole offensive line, and they stop Harris, of all people, for no gain. The ball did come out, but it didn't get in the end zone. Keith Hack cannot believe they came out of that whole drive with no points.
And now Ashley Salerno and LA's offense goes to work from the 1-yard line. Tough position. 1st and 10 handoff. This one to Agam Chichindu. And Chichindu gets out to about the 11-yard line. Now let's take a look at that LA offense.
Monique Gaxiola, offensive line. Laura Barba, center. Danielle Harvey, tight end.
Jasmine Binloss, wide receiver.
Agam Chichindu, wide receiver.
Melissa Margulies, running back.
Ashley Salerno, quarterback.
Melissa Margulies has to come up with some big plays tonight, Mitch, for LA to have any success.
She goes for about 8 on that play, and now let's meet that Chicago defense.
Chantel Taylor, defensive lineman.
Dina Fagiano, linebacker. Yashi Rice, defensive line.
Laura Sticks Peterson, safety.
Kim Perez, cornerback. Allie Alberts, safety.
Heather Furr, safety.
Yashi Ray, she's had a big year so far coming off the edge, Mitch.
Absolutely, we pointed out every week she is the sister of Simeon Rice, the former NFL great. There's Margulies, she's getting to the outside. And that was a touchdown-saving tackle by Laura Peterson, or else Margulies was in the back of the end zone by now.
Melissa Margulies is such a great north-south runner. Look, she makes her cut, she waits for her block. Laura Barber, great block up front, a drive block against a solid defensive line. Margulies almost broke that.
Jasmine Binloss, the small wide receiver, getting in the way of Allie Alberts there with a nice seal block. 1st and 10 now at the Chicago 16. The pitch out goes to Margulies. Margulies cuts it back inside. Still pumping those legs and gets about 5 yards on that carry.
Margulies is running like there's no tomorrow, Mitch. I love this. North-south. She has some blocking. Kick out the block. Watch her bring it back inside. Boom. Cuts back inside on her own. Breaks 2 tackles right there and gets solid yardage. Not great right there as far as average, 3.8, but tonight she's way over that average, Mitch.
They are going to need a big contribution from number 2 tonight as we wind down first quarter of play here in Chicago. And exactly what we thought this game would be, a tough battle between 2 conference powerhouses. As we end the first quarter, there's a look at Christelle Harris, who got out of the gate early. Chicago could not capitalize. Back to second quarter action. There's Heather Furr. And Ashley Salerno back to work. 2nd and 5 from the Chicago 11. Salerno under center now. Hands it off to Margulies. And Margulies trying to fight her way up the middle. She goes for about 5 on that. And Bobby, I got to tell you, for a small-framed running back, she certainly moves that pile.
I agree, Mitch. She has a great motor. She's having a great night so far tonight. Heather Furr's coming up big time and starting to spy on her. This LA offense doesn't look like it was the past couple of years with Ashley Salerno firing the ball all over the field. Eddie Chan is content to run the ball and then sometimes do a little play-action pass.
You have one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. And number 8 there, Ashley Salerno. You got to think they're going to open it up at some point here. 1st and goal from the Chicago 6. Salerno back in the shotgun, looking over the middle. Finds Mo Gaxiola holding on to that ball. And there's LA, they strike first.
What a read by Salerno and Gaxiola. It's a hot read. The defensive ends are coming in hard off the edge. Watch this. She sees the defensive ends coming in. It's a hot read. Turn your head around to the right. Delivers the ball. Gaxiola opening the end zone. Easy catch and throw. Touchdown, Los Angeles.
That is great discipline by this championship team. Understanding that rush and then turning around, as you said, Bobby, and looking for that hot route.
This year's LA version is a lot different than Biz's team. He would power it in from the 1 with Eddie Chan. They do a lot of hot reads like that with Salerno.
That would be Coach David Bizup, who won 3 championships here. It appears we've got a flag on the play here. Keith Hack not happy with that flag. And that is why, because LA will now have another shot at that extra point attempt with defensive offsides.
Keith Hack is beside himself. He can't believe it. They had Salerno stopped on that play. Now they're giving him another shot from the 1-yard line.
The extra point will be from the 1-yard line. And you got to think you're going to probably see Melissa Margulies here possibly, or play action. This is an offense with multiple weapons, including Danielle Harvey, who's greatly underrated at that tight end position. There's the shotgun snap, high snap to Salerno, trying to avoid the rush, now just pitches it out. Nothing there, but that DN rush, Bobby.
Absolutely. Yashi Rice coming from the outside. Not sure about that call by Eddie Chan. Only 1 yard to go. You got Salerno, you got Margulies. You go into shotgun like that. Not a great call.
And there's a look at that Gaxiola score. Back to the second quarter. Under 7 minutes remaining as Chicago takes over 1st and 10 from the 15. Furr decides to keep it and goes for about 6.
Great read by Heather Furr. That's their speed option, one of their key plays they like to run. They've been running it all season. She read it great. Defensive end shot up the field. She kept it herself. Good game.
Mo Gaxiola a little out of position on that pitch play. And it looks like Chelsea Hart, that all-fantasy corner, is down for LA. Let's take a look at this injury. That back left ankle, and she just rolls it and appears she lands on it. And you got to think that's probably going to be hopefully a sprain and not a break.
Either way, this is a big loss for Los Angeles. Chelsea Hart, as you mentioned, all fantasy cornerback. Even if it's a sprain, the cornerback's one of the fastest players on the team. This is going to hurt Los Angeles.
That is a corner that is coming in with 14 tackles, so definitely a big weapon for LA against the run, especially against the Chicago team with a running back like Christelle Harris. 2nd and 4 now. Furr with the option. Nowhere to go as Gaxiola comes up from that middle linebacker position, and we talked to her about Furr earlier tonight.
I think Heather Furr is overrated. We proved that the first time around. Tonight is no different. We're about to shut that shit down again.
I love it, Mitch. Talking trash against Heather Furr, a former MVP. Look at the season she's having, 9.5 tackles. Mo Gaxiola, she came off of 2 reconstructive knee surgeries and having a whale of a season.
That sets up a big 3rd and 2 here as Harris tries to move the sticks and does just that. Gains about 3 on that play. That'll be 1st and 10 for Chicago, now at the LA 24.
One of the players LA put in to play defensive end, Christina Sarga-Minaga. She's got a tremendous upside. She's got to play like that. They got a first down, but that's how you make a tackle.
I will be calling her Christine tonight.
Christine S.
Not going to try that name, Bobby.
Sarminaga.
Say it 3 times.
Sarminaga, Sarminaga, Sarminaga.
You are the man, Bobby Huco. 1st and 10, LA 24. Shotgun snap, inside handoff, and Alberts cannot control the ball. Looks like she recovered it, though, but that'll be a loss on the play, or check that, no gain.
Mitch, that looks like a busted play. They're 3 in the backfield. Bad snap, the handoff. Allie Alberts didn't even have her arms up to get the ball. Fell right on the floor. They got lucky getting the ball back.
Looked like Alberts never had control of that ball, as you say, Bobby. And she was very frustrated at the end of that play. She knows she was at fault.
Heather Furr didn't do a great job putting the ball in her basket either. And it just, got to re-tee up. They got lucky and got the ball back.
You just cannot make those types of mistakes against a 3-time champion in LA. 2nd and 11. There's another handoff to Harris. No, the fake handoff. Furr still has it. Is going to take a shot. And just off the hands of Christelle Harris. That even fooled me up here, Bobby.
Heather Furr, she has gotten so good at making reads. With the play action, she was looking deep. The LA secondary, a different secondary with Margulies and Salerno back deep. There was nothing deep. She tried it to Harris in the right flat, almost got it done. But LA secondary, they're shutting down the Chicago passing game so far.
You got to think how much of that goes into with Chelsea Hart not being back there, with Chicago taking a few shots down the field.
I think you're right, Mitch. They'll do that all night without Hart. That's a big cog that's not playing for LA.
A 3rd and 11. Pitch out play to Harris. Harris can't control the ball and now trying to just salvage something. But she's going to go for a loss of 5 on that one, Bobby.
Mitch, that's twice this series the ball's been on the ground. Harris right there before with Allie Alberts. This is just bad execution. Playoff teams should not be playing like this. The first game of the season, maybe, but not in a playoff game.
And that creates a 4th and 16 for Chicago. Already down in this one 6-0, and Coach Keith Hack wants to talk about this. We've got a timeout, Chicago, and miscues continue for this Bliss team. We are back to second quarter action, and Heather Furr looking at 4th and 16. Shotgun snap, fakes it, and now going to try to take off by herself, going nowhere. Jessica Aberquin all over it. And now we've got a penalty. Could that be unsportsmanlike on Aberquin?
She made a great hit, but after the play, she hit Furr again. You cannot do this. You can't do that. It's 4th and 16. You get the ball, Los Angeles, and you hit the quarterback in the head. Great tackle, but not a smart play.
That'll give a 1st and 10 for Chicago. What a massive turn of events here. Otherwise, LA was looking at 1st and 10 from the 19. Furr in the shotgun again. Quarterback draw play up the middle, and she's still rolling. Furr goes for about 15 all the way down to the LA 4. And the game getting a little testy now.
You don't wake up a sleeping bear. Heather Furr getting that shot to the head. Penalties like that, all it does is fire Furr up. Quarterback draw, great blocking up front by the whole Chicago line. She almost breaks into the end zone. Heather Furr is fired up.
And now the ball at the 9. As Chicago has a 1st and goal and fumbles the snap. Not sure what the penalty is. This might be a false start on Chicago.
Keith Hack can't believe it. Mitch, how many times this year have we seen this? Chicago inside the red zone, they jump, they fumble snaps, and they don't score. Heather Furr's got to get this team on a roll.
You got to wonder how much of this is not being ready and how much of it is just simply playoff nerves. This is a game Chicago's been looking forward to all year after being routed here at home earlier this season. And that'll bring us down to the 2-minute warning here in Chicago, as Heather Furr and company are driving, all set up by this quarterback dive. Two minutes remain in the first half as we return to action here in Chicago. Heather Furr and company, 1st and goal from the LA 9. Direct shotgun snap to Furr. Furr nothing on the right side, cuts it across the field, and she's going to get in. Touchdown, Heather Furr. Furr goes for about 9 on that one, Bobby.
Just watching Heather Furr, that's worth the price of admission. This girl can flat out play. And did you notice when she cut back, the corner was not there to contain? Losing Chelsea Hart could be huge as this game goes on. Watch. Little kick out block by Harris. She comes all the way back. The corner slips right here. Watch the corner. She's out of the play. Heather walks in. Chelsea Hart would have made that play.
And there's a look at Mo Gaxiola not approving. 2-point attempt here for Chicago from the LA 3. And we've got another stoppage of play, yet another penalty, and you got to think this is on Chicago again.
That is unbelievable. Just a simple lack of concentration by the Bliss. That's the 3rd time today we've seen that.
Another attempt at the extra point. Handoff goes to Harris. Harris goes right. Did she get in? Looks like she was stopped at about the half-yard line. So that false start really cost them points there.
Mitch, even though they scored the touchdown, I hope Harris isn't hurt. That would really be bad for Chicago. But even though they scored the touchdown, they're not executing right. That was not a nice handoff, clean handoff right there, and the whole play got stopped.
Once again, coming up against the Los Angeles Temptation, you have got to be clicking across all cylinders. Ashley Salerno back to work now at the LA 15. There's a little pitch out to Margulies. Margulies cuts it left, and she's still going. Margulies down to the 15 and then some. She's going to go for almost 22 yards on that handoff.
Good blocking makes great running backs. Watch this kick-out block by Agam Chichindu. It's unbelievable. Classic football block. Watch Chichindu. Bam! Almost out of the arena and lets Margulies cut it back, almost score 6, Mitch.
Yeah, LA is a very physical team. And Chichindu is at the top of that list. Great seal block on the outside to allow Margulies to go for 22. That'll set up a 1st and 10 from the Chicago 13. There's a little crossbuck action. This one goes to Chichindu. And not much happening there as Chicago is trying to strip that ball.
They're trying to strip the ball, but it's sad tackling right now. Chichindu and Margulies, they're making it look easy against the number 4 ranked Chicago defense.
You got to start wondering when you're going to take a shot here. If you're Los Angeles, you've got the best quarterback in terms of an arm in the league, and they have not taken a shot down the field yet.
Mitch, I'm not sure I like this offensive plan. Well, like you said, Salerno throws the ball as well as anybody in the league.
2nd and 5 at the 8. Salerno scrambling, just has no opportunity as Yashi Rice is just blazing off that edge.
We've been waiting for that all night. Yashi Rice, she comes off the edge, like you mentioned, Mitch, better than anybody in the league. Not a great play by Salerno. You're on the 8-yard line. You're a championship quarterback. You cannot take that loss rate.
That was a loss of 14 yards. And there's a look at Yashi Rice's numbers on the year. Lacks a sack, but certainly has a lot of hurries on quarterbacks. That'll set up a 3rd and 19 from the 22. Salerno under center, the fake pitch, going to take a shot down the field, and she's got Agam Chichindu. Chichindu trying to break it into the end zone. As the clock continues to run, Chichindu still on her feet, gets down to about the 1-yard line.
What a motor by Chichindu, and what a pass by Ashley Salerno. Mitch, I know I can't coach from the booth, but if you have a quarterback can throw like this, wouldn't you throw it a lot more often?
Absolutely, and Eddie Chan calling a very important timeout there as 1.9 seconds remain in the first half. So LA will get another shot at this.
Mitch, I got a question to call by Keith Hack. It was 3rd and 19, and they had like a attacking defense going against the run. You know you have to pass the ball. You know you got the number 1 ranked quarterback ever throwing the ball. They let her throw the ball for 21 yards to Agam Chichindu. Keith Hack, not sure about that call.
That has been the weakness of Chicago all year, is that secondary, and it caught up to them there. Now a 1st and goal. They've got time for one play here. Direct snap to Salerno. Salerno bulls her way into the end zone, running over Allie Alberts. Shades of earlier this year when she blew up Alberts.
You know what, Mitch? You can't stop Ashley Salerno. You can only try to contain her. Watch this hit. Alberts comes up from the safety position, but she takes the hit. Instead of delivering a hit, Salerno kills her. Wow!
That is like a bull in a china shop with Salerno. As you said in the open, she is a linebacker in a quarterback's body. Again, direct snap to Salerno for the extra point. She's going to lob it up, and Laura Peterson sticks Peterson there on the interception.
Great man-to-man coverage by Stix Peterson. She had her covered like a blanket, went up, caught the ball at a tie point, and then brought it back. You cannot coach a defensive back to cover a girl better than that. Great play by Stix Peterson.
And there's Furr and Hack walking off. They cannot be happy as Salerno ties up the game in a big way. What a monster. Back to the Sears Center here in Chicago. Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. And Bobby, Los Angeles is up 12-6, what a lot of people expected. What we didn't expect is the rushing attack of these two teams. First, let's talk about Los Angeles and specifically Melissa Margulies.
Melissa Margulies is having a career night. Already she has 55 yards in the first half, including this 22-yard burst. LA opened the scoring from a very unlikely source, not featured on offense, when Ashley Salerno found Mo Gaxiola for the 6-yard TD pass, threading the needle, giving LA a 6-0 lead. It took a while for Chicago's O to get going. They didn't score until the second quarter when Furr engineered a 9-play, 35-yard drive, with Furr scoring on the 6-yard TD to tie it at 6-6. Then the veteran Ashley Salerno, with 2 championships under her belt, orchestrated a 5-play drive, with her running it in to give LA a 12-6 lead.
Now for Chicago, is it the end of their season or can they stage a rally here in the second half?
They sure can. They're only down 6 points. There's a lot of time, the whole second half. Furr's got 46 yards rushing. Harris has 36. They can do it. If they keep running like that, Furr can throw it down the field.
The stage is set. Now we're on to the second half of this divisional playoff. Kickoff is next. We return to second half action in Chicago. And before we get going, Bobby, let's take a look at the two running backs tonight.
Margulies having an outstanding night. She's got 55 yards already. She had a 22-yard burst. And Harris, she has 36 yards already, 4.4 average. They're both having a whale of an evening, Mitch.
Absolutely, Bobby. Both quarterbacks a little shy to open it up tonight, so you got to figure Margulies and Harris are going to have a really big second half. As Christelle Harris gets us off here. Deep kick, Margulies on the return. Margulies trying to get on the outside, nothing there. She brings it out to about the 14.
Eddie Chan has Margulies deep because she has potential to break it anytime she touches the ball. Right there, great coverage up the middle by Chicago.
As LA returns to offense, we talked to Salerno about her and Furr.
The idea that Heather Furr is a better football player than me is just silly. I know in my heart when I step out onto this field, there's no better football player or athlete out here. So tonight, I'm just going to have to prove it, both sides of the ball.
They're both great quarterbacks, but Ashley Salerno has been the #1 since I've been involved in the LFL. There's simply no one better than her at quarterback. Heather Furr is a great all-around player, but Salerno is the best.
There was a look at Salerno's stats, 2 of 2 in the first half, and found Chichindu on that big completion before the half, setting up the only LA score. Back under center, pitch out to Margulies. Margulies nothing doing. There's just a surge of blue in that backfield led by Yashi Rice, and Rice has been on a tear tonight. Let's take a look at her in action.
Yashi Rice, she's got her A game going tonight, Mitch. She's playing great. She needs to keep it up for Chicago to have a chance.
They have got to keep pressure on Ashley Salerno. As we look at a 2nd and 11, there's the handoff to Margulies, trying to find a hole, cutting back. Still cutting back, gets some room on the right side. And Margulies goes for about 9 yards on that one.
Melissa Margulies, she's having a career game tonight. She's got lightning fast reflexes, and you saw it on that play right there. It was shut down outside, a great kick-out block. There's nothing there. She brings it all the way across the field. Outraces everybody for a huge game. Melissa Margulies is on fire.
And you see her switching the ball away from the defense. She has really come a long ways to learning that position, starting out at receiver, now being moved to running back in this LA offense. 3rd and 2 now from the LA 22. Another handoff to Margulies. Margulies up the middle, now cuts it left. Just trying to break through that defense, manages about 12 on that one.
Melissa Margulies seems to have eyes in the back of her head tonight. She's reading every hole. Another great kick-out block by Chichindu. Watch the block. Takes 2 players outside. Margulies nicely reads that block and cuts it inside for another outstanding gain.
I don't think I've ever seen Melissa Margulies run with this much conviction and patience, waiting for those blocks and finding the gaps.
Mitch, you made a great point. She was a wide receiver last year. Who would have thought she could run the ball like this?
There's a pitch out to Margulies, getting to the outside, and that'll go for 4. It is abundantly obvious they're going to keep it on the ground and milk every yard with Margulies.
That's the first time tonight Dina Fagiano came out with a tackle. We talked about her a lot in previous games. Keith Hack thinks she's a future star, but she hasn't played that well tonight.
The up-front blocking for LA is the story tonight. Nobody's touching LA runners until they get to the second layer of the defense. And that's always going to be enough to move the sticks. As we approach the 5-minute mark, 2nd and 6. Salerno back to pass, nothing there, still looking. Trying to evade the rush, now finds Chichindu. And that ball's deflected in the hands of Heather Furr. There is a penalty flag. It'll be interesting to see what this flag is on. Could be a big turnaround in this game.
Not a great play by Salerno. She tried to quick post, nothing there. Then she threw it up, got bounced in the air. Heather Furr came up with it.
Now we've got a penalty. Looks like that Furr interception is going to stick. What a massive turnaround here when LA was driving deep.
Heather Furr somehow always gets the ball where the ball is, and great players have a nose for the football. They end up around it somehow, and Heather Furr is always there.
Danielle Harvey was the intended receiver. Allie Alberts and Kim Perez converging, creating that turnover. Now Chicago 1st and 10 at the 13. Pitch out to Harris. Harris gets out all the way out to the 13, and that'll get us about 7.
Melissa Margulies is hurt, Mitch. That cannot be good for LA.
She's a big contributor on both sides of the ball since Hart went down. They are using her at corner.
They're looking at her eye, it looks like. I hope this is not serious.
And there's that big turnover by Furr. We're back after this. And there's a look at Margulies as we return to action. She was having a big night, Bobby, with 90 yards for that offense.
How about her average? 8.8 yards per carry. That's incredible. I hope she's not hurt.
That could be a big shift in dynamics of this game if she does not return. 2nd and 3 for Chicago. Another delayed handoff here to Christelle Harris, and Harris moving the pile. She goes for about 8 yards on that one.
Ferrari Harris, she's in a groove right now. LA just can't stop her right now, Mitch. Heather Furr don't even have to put the ball up. The passing game, they're not even trying.
There's just not a lot of size up front for that LA defense, and they're just getting pushed back. Now 1st and 10 from the LA 22. A big drive for Chicago as they try to tie this game. There's Heather Furr looking over the defense. 1st and 10. Another handoff pitch out to Christelle Harris. And Danielle Harvey coming up for the stop, but not before Harris picks up 6.
Mitch, you mentioned it. The offensive line is just destroying the defensive line right now at the point of attack. They can't stop them for less than 5 yards. Harris is getting 6 to 10 yards anytime she touches the ball.
And with that kind of average, Bobby, you don't go away from that offense. Continue to move the sticks against this LA team and put yourself in a position to be competitive in the 4th quarter.
That's a good point. Heather Furr is leading the league in passing right now, and she's not throwing the ball off because she doesn't have to.
2nd and 4 now from the LA 16. There's a misdirectional handoff that time to Allie Alberts. And even with Alberts, that offense gains 8 yards rushing.
That's why Allie Alberts might become this year's Rookie of the Year. She always seems to come up with clutch plays at clutch times. Another great play by Alberts.
They're going to keep this on the ground. And that sets up a 1st and goal for Chicago.
Mitch, all night long they've been doing this. Since the first series of the game, even though they didn't score, they took it all the way down to the 1-yard line.
And this running game is really wearing down that front line of LA. There's a direct snap to Furr trying to get up the middle. Nothing doing as Mo Gaxiola comes up.
What a linebacker, Mo Gaxiola. She's had a sensational year for Los Angeles. Up front, they got nicked up with some injuries. They lost Chloe Butler, but Mo Gaxiola has played big, and I mean real big all year.
Big enough, Bobby, to be named the starting middle linebacker in the Western Conference for the All-Fantasy team. Just a great season despite those torn-up knees. Now a 3rd and goal for Chicago. Shotgun snap. Furr's going to keep it up the middle. Major collision, and she gets down to about the 5-yard line.
Heather Furr's got game, Mitch. I love watching her play the game. She makes the players around her better, and I've never seen anybody play with a heart like she has. Watch this run. She takes a quarterback draw inside, one on 3, and she delivers the blow.
She is just simply a playmaker on both sides of the ball, and it is dangerous for any defense to have Ferrari Harris and Heather Furr back there. And that's a pitch out to Harris. Harris gets it down just about to the half-yard line. Harris goes for 4 on that one. It'll set up a 4th and goal from the LA 1.
That's one of Chicago's favorite sweep plays right there. The pitch to Harris right there, but the key to that whole play is Stix Peterson outside. She has to do a stalk block on the cornerback, stay with him, getting her zone, and she did a great job to free Harris for that game.
And that set up the play of the game thus far, as Chicago has a 4th and goal. This is a massive play in this Western Divisional playoff. And there's a pitch out to Harris. Harris dives over the top, and that's good enough for a Chicago score to notch this game up at 12-12.
Harris gets credit for the touchdown, but again, Sticks Peterson, the stalk block on the corner, kept her from containing Harris. Great block by Peterson and great run. Watch outside. Sticks Peterson stays with the cornerback. She doesn't get inside until late, and Harris scores. Great block.
That LA defense is back on their heels. When you have Laura Peterson at 115 making a block and holding the block like that, that is just pure technique.
They didn't try one pass that entire drive down the field, not one.
Here's the extra point attempt from the 1. Another penalty, and this could go once again against Chicago.
That is just unbelievable. It's a tie game, 12-12. Here we go again, inside the 5, and they're killing themselves, stubbing their own toes.
There just seems to be a lack of communication offensively between the offensive coordinator, James Bruner, there, and Heather Furr.
They drive it all the way down the field, and they need a key extra point, and they commit a penalty like that.
That'll take us to the end of the third quarter. Back with the final act in this one, as Chicago tries to take the lead when we return. We return to action here in the fourth quarter. The LFL Western Divisional Playoff, with the winner of this one advancing to Ontario next week to take on the Seattle Mist. And there's Furr with the extra point attempt, looking over the middle, and Salerno steps in front of that. And that'll keep the game tied at 12.
Great read by Salerno back there, but she was open in the back of the end zone. Heather Furr didn't see her quick enough, and Ashley Salerno stepped right in front of it. She throws it quick, it would have been an extra point. Too late, Ashley Salerno comes over and picks it off.
There's that Salerno versus Furr battle we've been talking about. Much like that regular season finale of Annie Erler versus Heather Furr. These are the legit superstars of this league.
Mitch, this game is as advertised. 12-12 in the fourth quarter.
It is the Pacquiao versus Mayweather of the LFL. With 7:30 left in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10 LA. The fake handoff. She's going to take a shot. Finds Benloss. Benloss still on her feet. That'll go for 22 yards. That is the connection we've been waiting on all night. Ashley Salerno to Jasmine Benloss.
Mitch, why not throw like that the entire game? Look at this play action pass. Look at her in the pocket. Look at that pass down there. Safeties are up thinking run. Salerno delivers a strike downfield. This offense could put up big numbers instead of being conservative. I just don't get it.
The Chicago defense now on its heels, as LA has it to the 13. Benloss in motion. Pitch out to Danielle Harvey. Harvey mishandles the ball, and that ball is loose. That looked like Heather Furr got on top of it, Bobby.
I think she did. I think you're right, Mitch. The pitch was there. Good pitch. Danielle Harvey, I think it's the first time in the backfield tonight. I don't know why you would put Harvey back there this late in the game. It went off her hands. And who else? Heather Furr. She's got the uncanny ability to always be around the ball. Unbelievable break for Furr in Chicago.
I would venture to guess that that should have been Melissa Margulies back there, but obviously with the injury, they probably are just plugging in people into certain positions now that have not had a lot of work in those positions.
Mitch, with Margulies out, wouldn't you give the ball to Chichindu, who's used to carrying the ball all the time? It's the fourth quarter in the playoff game.
That is a bit of a head scratcher. 1st and 10, Chicago. That is the option with Heather Furr, and she's going to hold on to that ball and try to milk this clock, get in position late.
Great play selection by Keith Hack right there. A lot of misdirection. Everybody went right and left, and Heather Furr had room up the middle. She got 6 good yards right there.
I think they're going to be content on running this clock and keeping it away from Ashley Salerno and company. As we near the 6-minute mark of this fourth quarter, we are tied up at 12-12. Once again, the winner advances to the LFL Western Conference Championships next week in Ontario. 2nd and 4, pitch out goes to Harris, and Harris could not handle it or is not expecting it, as the ball is still loose and looks like Monique Durant picked that up.
Mitch, again, the execution was horrible. Here it is in the fourth quarter. It looks like she missed a handoff, then tried to pitch it to her in the last minute. Really dangerous. They got lucky again to get the ball back.
That is shades of what happened here earlier in the regular season. On a bad pitch play, and Agam Chichindu returned that for 6. And Chichindu was right there for a return. Luckily for Chicago, Monique Durant recovered. There's another scary pitch out to Christelle Harris. Harris cuts it across the middle, and Harris goes for about 9 yards.
That's the same play they scored on, but going the opposite way. You got to hand it to Chicago's wide receivers. This time, it's Allie Alberts with a stalk block on the quarterback. Just frees her. Watch the block outside. Keeps her outside. Lets Harris come inside. Another great play. And the offensive line for Chicago right now is destroying, again, Los Angeles' defensive line.
That'll move the sticks for Chicago. Another 1st and 10. They're about at the midfield here. There's another handoff to Harris, and they're going to ride that Harris train. And why not? Harris gets about 10 on that one. Another Chicago first down. And a little discussion after.
Ferrari Harris, she is in a league of her own. She's having a monster game again. Watch this cutback. Great block, and she reads the block. Then look at that jump cut. Mo Gaxiola and Talerno cannot get a handle on her. Unbelievable run again by Harris.
As the clock continues to run, LA is going to have to dig in here. First and 10, Chicago from the LA 16. There's a stoppage of play. Chicago calling a timeout, and that could be big, Bobby, in a tight game like this, wasting a timeout.
A lot of silly mistakes by Chicago tonight, but somehow still 12-12. Christelle Harris with a career game tonight.
Back to fourth quarter action, and we've got sounds of the game. Let's listen in.
Fuck them up. Fuck their ass up. Let's go. Come here. 13. 13. I don't give a fuck. This is the biggest play of your life. Instant. Ready?
Hey, I'm telling you right now. You don't fucking score, the season's over. All right? Let's go.
Just a bit of intensity out there. Don't think this one means much, Bobby?
This is the LFL playoffs. I love it. Both teams going at it.
Now 1st and 10 from the LA 16. A handoff to Christelle Harris. Not much doing there as that LA secondary finally converges.
They came up, but again, the execution was not there for Chicago. It looks like it's going to be a basic handoff, but then Rutherford turns her back and kind of hands it backhanded to her. This doesn't look good in the offensive backfield.
Definitely a lot more sloppy than you would think in the playoffs. That'll set up a 2nd and 9 now from the LA 15. As Furr looks over the LA defense. There's a pitch out play to Harris. Harris trying to cut outside, then inside. All that ducking and diving yields about 10 yards. And that'll be a Chicago first down with the clock continuing to run.
LA has not stopped that play all night long. Again, it's the basic pitch sweep. The outside receivers do a whale of a job again, pushing LA back. They cannot contain. There's nobody coming off the edge to stop Harris.
LA's defense just seems flat-footed, Bobby. There just isn't a lot of movement. There's not a lot of excitement. They just seem to be accepting of the fate versus delivering the fate.
All night long, you're exactly right, Mitch. I know they've had injuries, but this doesn't look like the same LA team as last year.
Now 1st and goal as Furr takes the snap, eluding the rush. Left-handed shovel to Christelle Harris. Unbelievable. What a playmaker. That had shades of Brett Favre all over it, Bobby.
Mitch, that might be the LFL play of the year. She was caught in the backfield. I can't believe it. Christina Sarminaga had her in the backfield, let her go. She switched hands to her left hand and threw it in the end zone to Harris. I got to see this myself again. She's nailed right there. Should have been tackled. Somehow she switches the ball in the end zone to Harris. Just insane.
That is incredible. And shades of dejection from Mo Gaxiola and that LA defense. as we near the 2-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
There is nobody in the league that has had a year like Heather Furr, Mitch. She has played incredible.
That'll take us to the 2-minute warning as we look at that play by Furr. Back with only 2 minutes left in the season for one of these two, as Chicago lines up for the extra point attempt. And there is Christelle Ferrari-Harris doing her version of the Lambeau Leap.
What a great series for Chicago. Now, can Ashley Salerno, she's been in a championship for years, can she make a comeback right now, Mitch? Can she do it?
She's absolutely capable of that. But what an impressive drive by Chicago. 7 plays, 39 yards, ate up almost 5 minutes of the clock.
It wasn't pretty. It was not a pretty drive, but they got the job done.
And as you said, the pressure now swings to Ashley Salerno in this LA offense. 1st and 10 from the 15, faking the pitch out, looking down the field, nothing there. Now scrambling. And Salerno will go for about 6 as the clock continues to run down on the LA season.
Interesting that Coach Chan chose to throw the ball right there all game long, no throwing. And then right there, 1st down, there's still a lot of time left. He put Salerno back there.
Now a 2nd and 4. Plenty of time still left with LA having its timeout. And obviously this is a shorter field than the NFL field.
This is where Ashley Salerno usually goes into a world of her own and somehow comes up with something.
Now a 2nd and 4 from the LA 21 as Salerno drops back to pass, looking over the middle, now trying to buy some time, throws it across her body, and that is picked off by Heather Rockstar Furr. What an interception and what a play for Chicago that could easily send them to the next level and possibly end the reign of LA.
Ashley Salerno, this might be her last game of the season. I never thought I would have said that. What a play again by Heather Furr, incredible.
And look at Furr's numbers on the night. What's big there is that final interception.
Watch the pressure, Mitch. She gets pressure right there. Has to throw it up, might have got her arm nicked. Heather Furr, the ball hawk right there, which it might have ended LA's dreams for this year.
That is massive. Now with only a little over a minute left, all Chicago will have to do is get into victory mode and take a knee. And obviously this means the end of the 3-year run for Los Angeles. That was an interesting looking knee.
I don't understand that kind of a knee, but I guess it worked.
The clock continues to run. And it's starting to set in for LA fans that this is the end of the road. And what a run it's been. There's Mo Gaxiola, part of all 3 championship teams. Just not in the cards for a 4th one as it appears. With 36 seconds left, LA chooses to call a timeout. And Chicago starting to celebrate, and another look at that Furr interception. And there's a look at Heather Furr and the Chicago Bliss. Only 36 seconds away from the conference championship matchup against Seattle.
Mitch, we mentioned it all year long. Heather Furr and Christelle Harris, they couldn't do it alone in previous years. This year, they have Allie Alberts and the likes, and they might have the weapons to take it all.
And like I said before the break, there's a look at Monique Gaxiola, and how disappointing is this? There's Ashley Salerno with 2 rings herself. Just going to come a little short of that 3rd ring.
They're both winners. They just haven't won tonight, Mitch.
This is a loaded team that I'm sure Seattle did not want to see in the next round. Now they'll get Heather Furr, Christelle Harris, and this Chicago Bliss team.
That is going to be an unbelievable game. You have Coach Michelson with his offense of over 100 plays going against a hot team like Chicago and Heather Furr.
And there's a look at Coach Keith Hack and Heather Furr as the moment sets in. They have finally beaten Los Angeles. Chicago was 0-5 all time against this LA team, and I'm sure that makes it that much more special.
Keith Hack, he guaranteed a victory over Gilbert Brown in Green Bay, and he guaranteed a victory tonight over the defending champs LA. You think he's going to do it against Seattle?
I don't know if I would make that call just yet. Not sure they're even thinking about Seattle right now. This is a momentous win, and it ends a reign in the LFL that has gone on since 2009. For Bobby Huco, Mitch Mortaza, our director Patrick Rulig, and our producer Gino Payne, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week in Ontario.